Hi, I'm Dave Upton. I've seen a lot of people talking about the Fishman TriplePlay. This is a fantastic device. It's a MIDI pickup, very simple to install. It literally is magnetic onto a bracket which fits to the strap button here, and doesn't harm the guitar in the slightest, so you can remove it at any point. And you literally charge it, come along, clip it on, magnetic. And then the little pickup here comes with a bunch of different size stick-on units, which again I'm assured will come off. Never tried that one. But you can then use a little tool that comes with it to adjust it to be perfectly positioned relative to the strings. And then you can play piano with guitar. Now, let you into a secret. I wanted to use this on stage live to fill out things like some of your lovely 80s rock classics, where you've got scenarios where you want to play a little bit of keyboard in the background, or there's a keyboard introduction. So that's what I wanted to use it for. And of course it comes with this thing, which is a USB pickup basically. So it's a radio pickup with a USB, and the whole thing, see, I'm not plugged into anything, the whole thing is wireless. So unlike some of the Roland kit, you don't have another wire trailing. In the case of this is a line 6 Variax 700, quite an old guitar now, but I absolutely love it. It's set up perfectly, plays a treat, and it allows me to also plug in my trusty Variax cable and get a right old combination. So if I turn that on and then stick myself on the acoustic guitar, let's pause for a minute and talk about the setup. So when I got this thing, I plugged the USB into the computer. I spent about 5 hours installing the software because it takes that long to understand it. Downloaded loads of patches, got fantastic sounds out of it. I mean, it comes with some great software. The only problem I had was latency. So I had some real kind of latency. Now, still not as bad as some of the old MIDI stuff. It was still bearable. But, I mean, this is just, there isn't any. You know, it's just straight there. So what I did was I went out and I bought the foot pedal. I wanted to go to gigs without a computer and without latency and without the software hanging and without loads of stuff that was going to go wrong in the middle of a rock gig. I mean, fundamentally that's what I was using it for. So I went out and I actually bought the foot pedal. Now, foot pedal, in my view, is very expensive, and I would almost question whether it's worth the money, except for the fact that it does the job, and that makes it worth the money. So it's not that obvious to people that aren't big into their MIDI that this thing doesn't have any sounds in it, and this thing doesn't allow you to download any sounds either. So with the foot pedal and this, it's not a lot of use. You've still got to push a MIDI signal to somewhere. So the thing that you need to do is to then buy some kind of MIDI device. So I ended up going out and buying a very small little device. Let me just unplug it for a second. Here we are. So this thing, this is a MIDI Plus. That is a whole MIDI sound module in the size of a little kind of iPod-y looking thing. And to be honest, everything you've heard, all the sounds that you've heard, have come off this thing, driven by the foot pedal. So in a moment I'm going to show you how this lot works. So welcome to the setup. So what I've got here is a lovely Helix, which is possibly the best thing you can buy other than the guitar itself. And then I've got the Fishman TriplePlay foot pedal, and you'll notice the USB pickup is shoved in the end, so really easy to use. And all you've got on here is a patch up and a patch down and a hold, so you can hold on to notes, and that is plugged in through a very standard MIDI cable into the MIDI Plus. So as I change the foot pedal, you can see it's just going up and down the patches, and it does take a little bit of time, but I actually programmed every patch description in the foot pedal using the TriplePlay software, which you can connect it to match the descriptions that were on the little card that came with that. So when it says it's a church organ, it's 19 on there, but that is, believe it or not, a church organ. And then the next thing I did was I created a separate signal path for MIDI, and you'll see on here that I've got some settings: dobro, Les Paul, dobro and Les Paul, and drop D. Now this allows me to have certain sounds from my guitar, so I can control the sound from the patches in my Helix that comes out of my Variax. So for anybody that doesn't know anything about Variax guitars, have a look at them, they're amazing. So you can program a whole load of detuning, you can program different sounding guitars, you can pretty much cover everything, including, I don't know if you can see that, dobro. So I set it up to be able to do that, and each one of those patches switch in and out these channels. Now you'll notice I've got, for those of you that know Helix, I've got a volume block on the bottom row, which is one of my channels, and that is the one that is currently blocking my full metal guitar sound through the amp simulator that you can see in the blocks on the bottom row, and enabling the top row. And if I switch to a full guitar sound, then you can see the other volume block lights up, and that's actually a 0% volume block that's blocking my MIDI and allowing the straight through guitar sound. So I can switch between any guitar type from my Variax and any MIDI sound and I can mix the two together, or I can play the two separately, and I can literally switch in a split second, which makes it incredibly powerful. So if I just turn on, so I've got my church organ sound. Yeah. And I've got my acoustic guitar sound. And then I can switch. I can turn off. So I get the whole lot. Yeah, straight in and then back. And I get my church organ sound back. Nice bottom end rock organ. Fantastic. Fantastic noise. So, with the two together and the whole MIDI setup, I get zero latency. I can go on stage, I get all my MIDI sounds. This little MIDI module is fantastic, plugs directly into my Helix, and then I just connect my Variax through a Variax cable, and I can control the entire thing from my Helix, and then push that out stereo to either the PA or a couple of FR speakers, or out to my Marshalls, as I typically do still. So yeah, so if you fancy one of these, give it a go.